Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library. And I have something a little bit different today. I thought we would make a nice little anklet. I've got these really pretty cowrie shells from Africa and I thought it would be a really nice focal for an anklet. You can make it a bracelet if you would prefer. I know we did anklets in class one day not too long ago. And some people decided that they wanted to make it a bracelet, and it can work for either. We did not use the same beads, which just goes to show that you can pretty much use any beads that you want to make your anklet. We just happen to be using cowrie shells. So we're going to be using two types of bead. We're going to use the cowrie shells, and then I'm also using 3 millimeter seed beads. And that's it as far as the beads are concerned. I'm using 22 gauge wire to make a little chain links. I got the idea for these chain links from Samantha Latimer, who is just wonderful with thinking up all kinds of fun little things that you can do with wire. And I thought we would make a nice little chain out of those links to go with our cowrie shell focal piece. The tools that you'll need are our usuals. We're going to use our round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around. I had somebody ask me this question in class the other day, so I'm going to go through it again. I try to go through it with everyone. I hope I don't ever forget. The barrels on the pliers are round all the way around. They start larger at the bottom and taper up to almost a point on the tip. Then we have our square nose pliers that are slightly rounded on the outside. And I can see where that can possibly get a little confusing when I say round nose and you see these pliers that are slightly rounded, but if you look on the inside, they're completely flat. So those are my square nose or chain nose pliers. And then we need a pair of cutters. Just any nice pair of jewelry wire cutters is just fine for what we're going to be doing. And again, I'm going to be using 22 gauge wire and jump rings in order to link everything together. That's all we need for this project. And I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you'll make your own anklet, and let's get down here to the mat and get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is get 6 inches of my 22 gauge wire, and you can do this in other sizes of wire. You can do it in 20 gauge. I don't know about 18 gauge. That might be a little large. Remember, the larger the gauge, the thicker the larger the gauge, the thinner the wire. 18 gauge would be fine though. Yeah, that would be fine. But I'm using 22 gauge and it works just fine. These are very strong little links that we're making, so it doesn't have to be anything too large. Just over a little bit. So I've got 6 inches of 22 gauge wire here. And I'm going to grab my little cowrie shell. I'm going to put a bend in this right in the center and hook it over my cowrie shell. Just let that drop. Just let that drop right down there in the U, just like that. And then I'm going to fold over the two sides and cross them over my cowrie shell, like so. Then I'm going to suggest it. I'm going to give it a little twist just to get that secured. And then I'm going to bring the two wires together. And I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire. It doesn't have to be a huge loop, so I'm just going to slide it down about a quarter of the way down my pliers. Now, just for reference, all pliers are not created equal. I'm going to switch this camera around because I want you to be able to see it the way I see it. And it looks like it's mirroring to me. So hold on just one moment. I will be right back. Okay, that's better. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to slide my two lengths of wire here. It's actually one wire, both sides of the wire. I'm going to slide them down my pliers. Again, I don't need too big a loop. I'm just going to go a quarter of the way down my pliers. I just count off 4 sections. And I'm going to take the 2 strands of wire. I'm going to bend them over the top of my pliers, like so. Then I'm going to reposition my pliers out of the way so that I can bring the wire between the pliers and the shell, just like that. So now I have a loop. Then I'm going to wrap that tail of wire here around my loop, right there between the bottom of the loop and the shell. I'm just going to wrap that around, and I like to stay pretty close to it with my thumb so that the loop doesn't pull out of shape. Let's wrap that around one time, like so, just like that. Now, one of my wires can go down the back, and the other one will be down the front, like so. Now, I'm calling this the front, but if you like this, what I call the backside better, more power to you, because I'm going to put some beads down the wire on my front. I'm calling the front. So I'm going to grab some of these little 3mm beads, and I'm going to string them down the wire that's on the front here. Okay, just string them on. Until I get to the other side of my little shell. I just want enough to fill this little section here, right here in the front where the crease is. And that looks good. Yes. One more. I'll put one more on. There. Yes, isn't that cute? All right. And then I'm going to bring both of these wires, the one in the back and the one in the front. I'm going to cross them over just like I did on the other side, just like that. And then I'm going to give it a twist, just like I did on the other side. Okay, then I'm going to bring the wires together. I keep saying just like I did on the other side, just so you know, that's what we're doing. I'm going to bring those wires together. Now my little beads are secure. I'm going to bring my wire about a quarter of the way down my pliers, just like I did on the other side. I know you're sick of hearing me say that. And I'm going to bring the wires over the pliers to make another loop. Now, try not to cross your wires over. You want them to be side by side, so you have a nice little double loop here. So I'm going to bring those over the top of my pliers and down the side of my shell, just like so. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's bring this down a little closer so it'll be hopefully a little less blurry. Huh. Okay, maybe I'm too close. How's that? Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. So I brought my wire down the back of my shell. Then I'm going to reposition my pliers out of the way again and bring those 2 wires between the pliers and the shell. And so now I have a loop. I'm going to wrap the loop again, just like I did on the other side. Straighten that out a little bit. And let's wrap that loop. First, I'm going to check and make sure this loop looks about the same size as this one. This one looks a little tiny bit smaller than this one. So I'm going to put that back in, get rid of that excess space. And check. And that looks good. Okay, let's wrap that around between the pliers and the shell. Let's give it a nice wrap right around that stem and cut that tail off. And you can wrap this more than once if you want. I don't really have enough to wrap it more than once, and I don't necessarily need all that much wire wrapped around the loop here. Okay, so let's get really nice and close and cut that tail. This is very short. So what I'm going to do is find something. Do I have something I can put this down in? No. So what I'm going to do is just turn it down to the table here and clip it. Somebody said something about putting your hand over it. If you do that, make sure that it's not far enough away that the wire has room to fly into your finger or your hand. Make sure it's nice and close so that it doesn't have anywhere to go or any way to move. Okay, now these little tips I need to push down. Don't want those sticking up. Okay, there we go. A little bit more. And I know people say, well, I can't really see it. Well, really, they're so small, it's hard to see it. That's why I use my fingers to see if I can feel the tip. As you age, your eyesight starts to go. So use your other powers of your other senses. In this case, the sense of touch. Okay, my little loop is a little out of whack, so I'm going to go back in, make sure it's nice and straight and even. And there's my little cowrie shell. And I want to make sure that both of these loops are facing the same direction. There we go. So there's my little cowrie shell focal piece for my anklet. Yay. So now I'm going to make the chain that goes with this. So I'm going to grab a piece of, or cut a piece of 3 inches of my 22 gauge wire. It's 3 inches is all you need. Then right here in the middle, you can measure this. I'm just eyeballing it. Right here in the middle, I'm going to slide down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers this time. Right in the middle of my wire. And I'm going to bring my wires together. One of my wires is bigger than or longer than the other. So I'm going to wrap that around until I have a loop, like so. And then I'm going to take the wire out, put it back on my pliers again, right here at the crease. And then I'm going to wrap the wires around the pliers again until they cross over one more time. Just like that. So I have a nice little double loop that matches the double loop on my centerpiece. So that's what I have. Nice. So then I'm going to go back here into where the wires are crossed over again. Slide my loop on my pliers. What am I doing? I'm going the wrong way. As I say, not as I do. I should have just kept going all the way around. Okay, so I'm going all the way around. I should do that again so that it's not confusing. Yeah, I think I will. Let me grab the piece of wire here. Sorry, everybody. Again, I'm going to go right here in the middle of my wire. I'm going to make a loop. And my wires, just cross them over like so. This one's a little longer, which is fine. And then I'm going to go back in right here at the crease and bring the wires together again. This is where I made my mistake. I didn't need to take it off of there. I'm just going to cross it right over like that. And you can decide how big you want them to be. I'm making mine nice and kind of dainty looking. So this is what I have now. Looks like a fish. I never even noticed that before. I can think of the goofiest things. Okay, so there we go. There's my wire. So what I'm going to do now is look at my wires. You can see that one is longer than the other. So just decide which one you want to use to wrap. And then the other wire straight down like so. Just like that. So now I'm going to grab one of my wires is straight down and the other wire is out to the side is what I'm trying to show you here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is wrap the wire that's out horizontal around the other stem. So for that, I'm going to grab my square pliers, just wrap that around one time. And I'm just wrapping it around once. If you want to wrap it around more than once, you are more than welcome to do so because you're going to have enough wire to do it. Then I'm going to cut that stem off, get rid of that, push that little tip down. I can still feel you. I can still see it too. Get down there. There we go. Then I'm going to grab another one of my little beads. Now, you can put a bead on this or not. It's entirely up to you. This is pretty all on its own, but I wanted a little bit more color, so I'm going to put another bead on, or a bead on, and I'm going to make another loop on this side. Slide my wire down about a quarter of the way down my pliers again, and I'm going to wrap my wire around the pliers, reposition my pliers out of the way, bring my wire up in between the pliers, and wrap that tail around. Now, Samantha's was a little different. She did not wrap hers. She just stopped with a simple loop, but I thought it would be nice if we wrapped it around just to have a little more strength here. So I'm going to wrap that around. That's very short. So I'm going to use my pliers. There we go. And push that down. And be very careful when you're squishing this little tail down because you don't want to break your little seed bead. They're made of glass. Well, most of them are made of glass, depending, I guess, on where you get them. And you don't want to crack it. And there's my little link that's going to attach to this guy. Now, I've been doing double loops on these, and you don't have to do doubles. The wire is strong enough that you don't have to, but if you want continuity and you want a double ring on this side and a double ring on this side to go with the double rings on your cowrie shell, just add another inch to your measurement. Measure another piece out here. And where's my ruler? There it is. Just add another inch. I used 6 inches, just make it 7 inches and make a double loop. And I'm going to show you how to do that as soon as I get my wire cut here. So I'm going to give myself 7 inches. Okay. And I'm going to do this again. This time I'm going to do a double. Slide my wire down about 1/4 of the way down my pliers. My pliers are right in the middle of my wire, just like before. Bring my wires together and cross them over, wrap them around until I have a loop, like so. Take my pliers out and make that a little bit bigger, just a smidge. There we go. Take my pliers out, put them back in right here where the wires are crossed over. And continue wrapping my wire until it's crossed on the other side here to make my little fish. Oh, did I say 7 inches? I was going to say, why do I have so much wire? 7 inches or 6 inches was what I used for this. This, I only needed 3 inches. So give yourself 4 inches. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry, everybody. So for your little link, if you want one single loop for the loop on the end here, use 3 inches. If you want to do a double loop, use 4 inches. I cut too much, but that's okay. Use 4 inches, and then that way you can make a double loop that will be consistent with the loop on the other side and the loop on your cowrie shell. So, corrections. All right, so now what I'm going to do is bend my wire. One of my wires will be going straight down like so, and the other will be going out to the side. So that's what I have. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to wrap the wire that's horizontal around the wire that's straight. So I'm just going to hold on to my wire right here where it crosses over and wrap that horizontal tail around the vertical wire one time. Again, if you want to wrap more times, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to snip off that tail, that very long tail now. I can figure out something to do with that. And I'm going to push that little tip down. I'm going to get a little closer and cut that off. And then I'm going to use my square pliers to push that tip down. Here we go. Now we grab a bead, slide it on, and let's make a double loop. So I'm just going to bend my wire out to the side. And I do that so that when I make my loop, it'll be centered right here on top of my bead. If I were to make my loop while it was standing straight up, it would end up on the side of my bead. But if I bend it while the wire's bent to the side, it ends up in the center of my bead, which in this case is where I want it to go. So again, I'm going to slide my wire down about a quarter of the way down my pliers. My pliers are resting right against the bead so that when I make my loop, there's no gap in there. So I'm going to bring the wire over the top of my pliers and down the side until it can't go any further because the beads are in the way. Then I'm going to open my pliers up, reposition them, and bring that wire around until it's laying flat against my pliers. Now I have a loop and the start of a second loop. I'm going to take my pliers out, slide them back in so that where it's crossed over is in between the pliers. So there's the crossover point. Slide my wire back in, bring the wire around the pliers again and down until the beads are in the way. Take my pliers, reposition them, bring the wire all the way around until it's vertical between the loop and the bead. And now I have a double. I have a nice double ring that goes with the double ring on the other side. And now I will wrap it closed. Just wrap that wire around, and it only needs one complete wrap. If you want to wrap more than that, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. All I'm doing is securing my loop. Grab my pliers, snip that off, and use my square pliers. It's easier to use the square pliers that have the flat section on the inside to push this little tip down than it is to use the round ones, because a round wire and round pliers, those are just going to slip. Okay, so push that down. Again, be very careful. This is a glass bead. You don't want to crack it. There we go. And there it is. And the only difference between these two is that one is has a double ring, and the other one has a single ring. So you can decide which you would rather do. Either one is fine. Neither one is wrong. There we go. So now what I need to do is put everything together. So I'm going to link these. How do I do that, you ask? With jump rings. That's Pat's favorite. Okay, so I'm going to grab a jump ring. I'm going to find the opening, which is right there. And I'm going to put my pliers on one side of the opening, one pair of pliers. And I have jump rings that are about the same size as my loops. That's what I wanted. I wanted everything to be nice and consistent. So these are fairly small. So I've got my pliers, one pair of pliers on one side of my jump ring. And it's so small, I don't know if I can use my fingers. So I'm going to use a second pair of pliers. Instead of fingers twisting, I'm going to use the pliers and let them do the twisting. So I've got one on one side of the opening and one on the other side of the opening, and I'm going to twist it until it's open. Just like that. Now I'm going to grab my cowrie shell and I'm going to slide it on my open jump ring. And I'm going to grab my one of my links, and I'm going to slide it on my open jump ring. If I can get this to. These are really small jump rings. I want to make sure they're. There we go. And it depends on how you want it to go. If you want yours to all go one way, you can. I'm going one way on one side with the lineup. I'm running them one way on one side, and on the other side of my focal point, my focal piece, I'm going the other direction. So it just depends on how you want it to go. So I'm going to slide that on my jump ring and push the ends together to close it. And you might need to do a little adjusting to make sure that the tips are lined up right next to each other and not overlapping. So just be patient and make whatever adjustments you need to make. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to do the other. So I'm going to grab another jump ring, find the opening, which is, where are you? I usually look for it with my fingernail, and there it is, right there. Grab my other jump ring, twist, slide on my cowrie shell and the back of my link. And again, if you want to do it on the other side, you can. There's no wrong way with this. It just depends on how you want yours to look. I'm doing mine with the back ring. I'm linking that onto my cowrie shell. Wait, is that my back ring? No, it is not the back ring. I'm going to have to change that around. Yes, that's the back ring. That's what I want. This one I need to change because I want it to hook back here instead of up here. So let me change that around. That's a quick change. And again, it's up to you which side you want to hook it on. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just your artistic preference. Yeah, you can take that off from there and put it on the side. There we go. And let's close that up. Okay, so there we go. That's the beginning of my chain. So let's grab the rest of it and attach. All right, so I'm going to open my jump ring up. I already have one on here. To find the opening, there it is. Open that up. Now, if that hadn't been on here, what you would do is just put one link of chain on the jump ring and add the other link of chain also to the jump ring. Why does this look wrong? I think I should be doing the other side. Make sure I'm doing it right. Should be going that way. That should be going that way. Okay, Virginia, what you doing? Yeah, there we go. Put that on. Close that up. Make sure the ends are together. And there's one side. And now let's do the other side. Jump ring is on here, I think. Is there a jump ring on here? Yes. Open my jump ring up. If I can find the opening. There it is. I see you. Yeah, there it is. Open that up. Slide it on my little lip. Where is it? Nice and snug. Make sure that the ends are backing up to each other. They should be meeting, not overlapping, but meeting. We'll just give it a little wiggle to make sure they're going the way you want them to. And this is a tight squeeze because these are small jump rings. So it's kind of tight to try to get my pliers in there. There we go. There. There. All right. And there is my anklet. But I need to be able to fasten it. Now, usually I like to make my own hooks because I find with bracelets that it's easier, I think, easier to not have to deal with these little clasps while you're putting your bracelet on. But because this is a anklet, you'll have two hands available to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and use this little lobster clasp because doesn't it look like the rest of it? So funny. It really looks like the rest of the bracelet. So why not? So I need to grab another jump ring. Where are they? There they are. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's nicely open. Just slide that jump ring, the lobster clasp into the loop of the jump ring, and then slide the last link of your chain into the jump ring and close it up. Just wiggle it a little bit just to maneuver it so that those ends are meeting. And ladies and gents, we have an anklet. Oh, that's kind of neat. Isn't that neat? I've been wanting to use these cowrie shells, and now I have. Yay. Okay, let's try it on a little display and see what it looks like. It is. Isn't that the cutest thing? I just love it. You can really see it. Oh, isn't that neat? I'm going to have to send Samantha a picture and show her what her little links look like on an anklet with a cowrie shell, a beaded cowrie shell. I love it. Oh, I hope you like this. It's just something a little different for when you go to the beach. That should be really nice. So anyway, that's it for today. That is our program and that is our piece. I hope that you will make one. Takes very little. You don't even have to use a cowrie shell. You can use any kind of central piece that you want to use, but I wanted to show you how to bead up this cowrie shell because they are so neat. And I have a bunch of them that I want to share. So this, I was wondering, what can I do with these? They're pretty, but just like hang them on a chain or something, gotta do something better than that. So I scouted around till I found some suggestions. made them my own. And here we are with our nice beaded cowrie shell anklet. So I hope you like this. Let me know one way or the other. You can get in contact with me at jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can leave comments on the YouTube page, the library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. That's spelled DEKALB County Public Library. You have to spell out that whole thing. And if you want to, there's my little thing telling me to get moving. If you want to, you can also leave comments and pictures on the library Facebook page. Those I love. I love to get pictures of what you make. And that's facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's all you have to do for that. You don't have to spell out the county public part. Just facebook.com/DeKalb, DEKALB Library. Send me some pictures, send me some comments, let me know what you like, what you didn't like, what worked, what didn't work. I know that there were some glitches along the way on this one, but I hope that it didn't throw anybody off too much. And until next time, I hope you come back and just keep going, because I have so many ideas of different things that I want to do. Getting back to my roots of cultural jewelry making, meaning that we'll be going to different countries a lot more often. I got a little stymied with the pandemic, slowed everything down, and it was really hard to get things from other countries. It's still not as easy as it was, but it's opening up a little bit, and my contacts are doing me pretty well. So let's go ahead and keep going. Let me know what you think, what you thought. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.